Hi, thank you for joining us. Full disclosure, you may hear children in the background. I've done my best to get them all kind of down away from the office and trying to do something productive. So hopefully they stay that way, but as we know, children will be children. So let me kind of get things rolling. Thank you for joining us today. This is hopefully the first installment of a kind of recurring segment. We're basically just going to call the quarterly review. Every 3 months or every quarter, right? We want to kind of give you an update as to what the business was doing, what we thought went well, right? And then what we're currently doing and why we're doing it, and then a look to the future of things goals that we're setting to kind of look forward to in the future. So starting today's off, since it's been so long since we have done a video, we figured now would be a good time to just kind of give you an overview of all that history and craziness that happened from when we started the company that made us drop off the map till now. So the original intent for Awaken the Moon was basically an extreme sports retailer. What we tried to do was something more kind of catalog based, where we wouldn't have any physical product until we needed it to keep costs low. Most of the costs would be going into advertising and making the catalogs and getting out to different shows and shops and skate parks and whatnot to build a relationship with a client base, find out what it is that they want or need, and then try and get that for them, as well as here's the catalog of the current things that we can get for you and how much it would cost you. That turned out to not be quite the best business plan, as all of the distribution companies that we talked to, except for one, would not even talk to us about pricing until we had a legitimate company, federal tax ID number and all of that, as well as a retail location where we had to prove to them that we were the current renters, that it was a real location with pictures, as well as pictures of all of the displays that their product would be on, before they would even talk to us about pricing, let alone anything else. So things got really kind of hairy on that side of it and basically fell apart as soon as we started. So we are now moved away from that for sure. And it was kind of around the time frame that all of that happened that I started creating again. Back when I was in kind of middle school, high school, I did quite a bit of sewing. I learned to sew from my mom, and then in middle school you make a pair of pajama pants in your home ec or fax class. I really enjoyed it, and I designed some things of my own, tried my hand at flat patterning, and all of that during my high school years. And then I joined the Marine Corps, did something completely different with my life. Not a lot of sewing done in the Marines. When I got home, people that knew me for sewing started asking me to sew stuff again, and over the next couple of years really kind of fell back in love with that creative process. Then around, so it was around the time that this business was deemed not possible, that I made the decision to go to the University of Minnesota for apparel design, which I was very happy with. There's some other programs in the area that I'd still kind of like to go to, just because the things that they're teaching are really good. So if you are in the Minnesota area, or if you're thinking about coming to the Minnesota area to pursue an education in fashion design, please, please, please contact me. I love talking about this sort of thing. And I have a lot of, I think, good, conducive thoughts to what would be good for you, depending on what it is that you want to get out of it. So if that's something that you're interested in, by all means, drop me a line in the comments or email me, however it works out best. So going to school for apparel design, I needed an internship to graduate. I had an internship all set up through the school to go to Istanbul, Turkey. I was very excited about that. And then they had a bunch of terrorist attacks and a coup against their government, which just love when that happens. So the school, for obvious safety issues, canceled the internship. I ended up getting an internship at a large bridal shop doing alterations. I learned a lot there, made some really good friends, loved the work environment that I was in, and kind of climbed the ladder, so to speak. I moved to customer service at one point, and then moved to operations manager for a while. For a small amount of time, I was a sales manager, and then for the past year and like 2 months or so, a little over a year now, I was the alterations manager at one of the locations. Again, I loved the job itself. I loved the customers. I loved my coworkers. I loved the work that I was doing. It's very, very rewarding, kind of helping somebody create that big day in their life. It's a big moment for a lot of people, and helping them kind of create that dream vision that they have is very, very rewarding. But it also was very, very stressful. The company itself, not the work. They made a lot of changes on how things needed to be run, and it left me with no time for friends or family or for my own creative process. So for the past, like 6 months or so, I have been very distant from my community. And it's been hard. It's been really hard to be away from all of your friends and your family and the community that you hold so dear and that you've worked so hard to kind of build and foster, the relationships that you have. And to just kind of have all of those severed from you was not ideal by any means. So as of this month, I've decided to step down from that. And it was not an easy decision. Again, I love the people that I worked with. I loved the customers. I loved that job. I did. I just didn't love how much that job overtook everything else. So moving forward from, that kind of covers history of where things were at from now. original business plan did not work. And then in just my personal life, I've had some ebbs and flows of what I thought I was going to be doing. And it's led us to this point now where I've decided to reestablish Awaken the Moon. I've learned a lot about what it is that I want from life, how important friends and family and community is to me, how important that creative outlet is to me, but also the joy that I've gained, the rewarding kind of aspect of working with clients to create this vision that they have for a special moment or a special day or whatever, they're trying to create in that. And from an alteration standpoint, for the most part, you're just making the dress fit them. You're not, it's still really rewarding. They're still really, really, really happy and excited that you can take this dress that like maybe fit really well in the hip, but it didn't fit anywhere else, and make it fit their body. They get really, really happy and excited that you're able to kind of take a dress that they fell in love with the way that it looks and make it theirs. It's a really rewarding experience. So we're going to move forward with the company with that in mind, which I think goes really well because the name of the company is Awaken the Moon. What that name is about, for me at least, was about awakening beauty in somebody. The moon to me is this celestial body that during kind of night and darkness and a dark period of the Earth's kind of cycles and seasons, brings light, brings beauty, romance, however you want to look at it, into the world during a really dark period. So I've always thought of myself as being a moon that can kind of come in and be a light to somebody else in a period of their darkness. Awaken the Moon, the meaning of the name of our company is that we're all moons. We all have this ability to bring light into somebody else's life. But we may not believe in ourselves in that way. We don't think we're beautiful enough. We don't think that we're good enough. We don't think that we have a light to shine into somebody else. Awaken the Moon is about helping people realize that they are beautiful, that they are worthy of being that kind of celestial body that someone would look up at in a period of night in their life and go, gosh, man, thank you, I needed that. You brought some light into my life. And I believe that I believe that we can do that with fashion. I mean, it does for me. I see people dressed sometimes and I go, that made my day. As well as you can awaken the beauty within somebody. They don't see themselves as beautiful or realize that they're beautiful, and then you dress them in something. You get something that fits them, that shows off their body for what their body is, and it helps open their eyes to how beautiful they are. So the company Awaken the Moon is going to move forward with that ideology. We are about helping people see their inner beauty. So getting to where we're at now, this quarter, it's a large pill to swallow, but This quarter, we are going to create a bridal line. The bridal line itself, the theme is garden party. We're creating 5 looks, 4 gowns, and 1 jumpsuit. The idea at the moment is to do a limited quantity made to measure line. What that means is we're going to have stock available of each garment, and then once that stock number has been hit, it will be considered out of stock and unorderable. So there will be a limited quantity of what we are going to make of these garments. We haven't fully set that quantity number yet, but right now, from our kind of preliminary estimates, we are looking at 5. We will be making no more than 5 of each of these garments. The other aspect of that was made to measure. Made to measure essentially means you order it, you send in your measurements, and then we make it to those measurements. So we want this garment, this dress or pantsuit or jumpsuit, whatever it is that you order, for you to take it out of the box, put it on, and to come really close to just fitting you perfect out of the box. We will have some information up on the website once we get closer that people can read through about kind of the ordering process, as well as what if something doesn't fit quite right, or the way that you thought it would, kind of thing. We want it to fit you right, but we also want to protect ourselves from kind of, we'll get into it a little bit more in some later videos, but when you do made to measure stuff, you need to protect yourself a little bit from, we weren't the ones that did the measurements. Like if you're in California and I'm in Minnesota, I'm not flying to California to take your measurements so that I can make sure that they're accurate. I'm relying on you to provide me with accurate measurements, and that's not always the case. So when you're providing the measurements, we can't always guarantee that everything's going to fit 100%. But we will have information about that, and with the process of how much we're willing to kind of make adjustments for you versus sticking to a company policy. Again, this is a little bit more information than what you might hear from another company, but this we're considering this our quarterly review, which is a little bit more on the business aspect of things. So we might touch on some of those fine points of a business that you might not hear from another company, that they kind of hide that in some of their legal mumbo jumbo so that it only comes up if it needs to. So you might be interested or curious about if you're doing made to measure and you're not making it until I order it, how do I know what the dress looks like, and if I like the way that it's going to look? So what we've done is we've paired up with Elizabeth Huddleson. She's a young lady in the area that I have had the pleasure of knowing for a very, very long time. At least, 10 years now? More than that, I think. Yeah, 15 maybe. Known her for a very long time. She's a good friend of mine. Just gorgeous young lady, and she is going to be my sample model for this season. So I am making all 5 of these garments to fit Elizabeth. She will then, model them at events that we do, as well as photo shoots, and you'll see photos on the website, and everything will be, just like you were gonna buy a dress from, anywhere, Burberry, whatever store that you usually buy clothes from. If you went onto their online website, you'll see somebody wearing that garment. So we will have that made and available, and we also are not counting that garment in our quantity. So from that standpoint, another thing that we're looking at doing right now is a kind of partnership with another local designer. She's kind of working some different things right now, and what that partnership with her looks like, we don't fully know and understand yet, but we are working with her on how we want to move forward with all of that. And her name is Sinead Odessa. So if you want to go check out her design work, we will have a link here as well as in the description. So you can go check out her work and show her some love. She's a wonderful, wonderful designer in the area, and we're very excited about what working with her will blossom into. So future sense. The bridal line, right, is this season, this quarter. Bridal season, for those of you that don't know, kind of really takes off at the end of December. So right now, a lot of bridal companies are doing their PR campaigns and everything that goes into that side of it. And this video is kind of our starting point, so we can start our PR campaigns, because we didn't want to release too much information until we'd kind of announced what it is that we're doing. So this is the announcement. We'll see some PR stuff, some social media, follow-up YouTube videos, whatever that looks like, moving forward to kind of release our bridal line as we get closer to it. So the end of this quarter will be the official release of our bridal line, and everything should be live by December 26th or earlier. We are planning on no later than December 26th. So moving into the future, after this quarter is done, we do want to focus on kind of growing into becoming our own fashion brand. That means we want to be working couture, and we want to be working ready to wear, as well as have a storefront. Those aspects may take some time to really get into, and we know that and we understand that. So in the meantime, as we're moving forward, we would also like to offer services as personal stylists and alterations. Both of those things are a little bit more of a as the need arises kind of aspect. If we got really deep into designing a line for ready to wear or a big fashion show or something, and then someone came to us and said, hey, can you do some alterations for me? We might have to say no, as well as the stylist thing. Those are things that take a lot of time out of our day. We are more than happy to do it for you if we can fit it in with everything else. So those, if you have a wedding and you want some help looking at suits and wedding gowns and bridesmaids dresses and flower girls and ring bearers and kind of getting through that stylist fashion side of setting up your wedding, by all means reach out to us. We love that sort of thing, and we are more than happy to help you with that. Storefront partnerships, there's some watches that I really love. There's some shoes that I really love. I'm not making watches or shoes, so once we get into looking at an actual storefront, we would like to diversify and become somewhat of a stockist and carry some products that other people are putting out, so that we can offer you what we see the best products are and things that fit with the styles and whatnot that we are creating and designing. So there's some things in that might come up. Lastly, for future things is YouTube. Of course, we're going to do this quarterly video, but we've got some other things, some really cool things planned for the future. You might start to see some of those things come up this quarter, not sure yet. Still working out some of the finer details on if they're going to work in this kind of current atmosphere that we find ourselves in. We're going to do some educational YouTube stuff on the fitting process, how things should fit, understanding measuring and how measuring works. One of the key things with that I really want to make sure people know and understand is, if you're wearing clothes and you're measuring yourself, things might come out too big because your clothes add circumference to your body, and it may be minimal, but it may be a lot. If you decide to measure yourself while you're wearing a big woolly sweater, and then you got a garment back that was made to measure and everything is really loose and baggy, it's because you were measuring over clothes that you shouldn't have been wearing while you were measuring yourself. So there's lots of little educational things that we want to try and make sure that you understand before you come to us for a garment. Because if we're doing couture or made to measure or whatever it is, and you're not providing us accurate information about what it is that we're making, you're not going to get accurate products back at the end of it. So we want to make sure everyone's on the same page. So we're really excited about creating some educational resources for you, as well as we have some, a YouTube kind of channel idea in mind that we're really excited about. So I will leave things off there. We've gone over the history of the company and the craziness that got us to where we are now, as well as the name meaning. We've gone over what the company is doing now, our future kind of partnership with Sinead, and the bridal line that we're creating with our model Elizabeth Huddleson, and then our future plans of YouTube and couture and ready to wear, and what may be coming in the future with this company. So we are really excited about our plans moving forward, and we invite you to come along with us on the journey. So links for Instagram down below, website, everything that we've got to share with you. We're going to share it with you. All right, thank you, and have a wonderful night.